Hello, I am Peter Travers, movie critic for Rolling Stone, and I feel not only too fat to fly, like Kevin Smith, but too fat to review movies, so I'm going to be quick about it. The movie this week is Kevin Smith's movie Cop Out, starring Bruce Willis and Tracy Morgan. You've all read about Kevin Smith being embarrassed to death because he went to sit on the airplane, couldn't buy an extra seat, and they told him, "You're too fat to fly." Well, this was really sad, and I know his pain. I love Kevin Smith. I've loved him since Clerks. I love Chasing Amy. I love Dogma. I love Jay and Silent Bob. He's had a tough time of it, and now he's made a big studio movie, but it's still Kevin Smith. And you know what? They didn't hire him to write this movie. They make a cop movie and they hire him just to direct it. Has directing ever been his strong suit? I don't think so. Writing is perfect. So when you see this movie, I'm not putting in the scum bucket because I feel bad for Kevin, and he still gets some moments in this. If you're going to make Bruce Willis and Tracy Morgan members of the NYPD, and they're going to be partners from hell, then, you know, you're going to get some fun rapport. I think Tracy Morgan is funny just to look at. And there's one scene in this movie where Tracy Morgan goes into a perp in one of those police rooms where Bruce Willis is watching from behind glass. And Willis is saying, "Why do you always steal movie dialogue?" And Tracy Morgan is in there and he says, "You're doing Scarface stuff," and then after he does Scarface, he'll say, "They call me Mr. Tibbs." Very inappropriate things. He goes, "Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker." And Bruce Willis says, "Gee, I don't know that movie." And it's his own Die Hard movie. This felt like Kevin Smith wrote it, so I like it. There's at least 4 or 5 moments like this in Cop Out, which means I say it's kind of worth it. It's better that you wait and rent it on Netflix and have beer and pizza with it, but it's still okay. All right, I'm deflating now. And I've got to go back to talking about what I'm here for, what we're all here for the next week and a half, and that's the Oscars. I've asked all of you to communicate with me. You could communicate with me on Twitter. You can go to asktravers@rollingstone.com. And you've been doing it. You've been having some great questions. And so I picked a few at random to give you today. This one is from Ashwin. And he says, "Do you think there's a chance that Inglourious Basterds can win for Best Picture? That the preferential thing might change things?" Look, everybody is hoping for an upset because it's been so predictable. And now that we have 10 nominees, the idea is that you don't vote for everything. You have to vote for them in order. So it's like 10 points for your first choice, blah, 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 down the line. Harvey Weinstein, who in the Weinstein Company put Inglourious Basterds out, would love this to happen. But I'm sorry, Ashwin, I think it's basically between Avatar and The Hurt Locker. And even though it would be nice to have an upset just to shake things up, don't believe it. All right, here's one from Alex, and he's saying that he's 13 years old and living in New York City and interested in film. And he's wondering because he saw Shutter Island on Friday, and I personally thought it was one of Leonardo DiCaprio's best performances. If the movie had such potential, why push back the release date from last year and instead promote something like The Lovely Bones when Shutter Island was 50 times better? Alex, I couldn't agree with you more. Why was it done? Money. They all thought that Lovely Bones might not make any money. Hey, they were right. And they put it out there so it would get a bunch of Oscar nominations, and it got Stanley Tucci for Best Supporting Actor, while Scorsese's Shutter Island was left to February, where of course it did make more money than any other Scorsese movie did for an opening. But I'm saying to you, it's ruled by greed. So I think Leonardo DiCaprio would have gotten a Best Actor nomination that went to, say, Morgan Freeman for Invictus. You're not writing me about that performance, so I think Leo would have been right in there. And here's my favorite. This one is from Andrew, all the way in Australia, and he says, "Peter, seeing as you have had your rants in the Damn You Hollywood and Damn You Oscar segment, I'd like to ask you about Oscar scumbucket moments. The moments that you hate. Like what movie to be nominated for an Oscar in a major category didn't deserve it at all? Hey, nominated one. Look it, we talked about Martin Scorsese. He did so many great movies. He did Goodfellas, and should that have won the Oscar as Best Picture? Sure. What did win? Dances with Wolves? Kevin Costner? Are you kidding me? Kidding me? Raging Bull in 1980, one of the best movies of all time, everyone would agree. What won? Robert Redford's Ordinary People. How many times are you renting that on Netflix? You could go back and back. You could go Taxi Driver loses to Rocky. I mean, we all liked Rocky, but really? Taxi Driver loses to Rocky? And then he says, basically, what's the worst Oscar moment and the worst Oscar speech? You know, it's got to be the same thing. I don't know if all of you are going to hate me, but I hated the movie Life is Beautiful, starring Roberto Benigni, the Italian comedian who got serious with a Holocaust movie. Worst Oscar moment for me was Benigni not only winning as Best Actor, but climbing over chairs to get to the stage to win, just doing shtick, which was what this Holocaust movie was. I hated it. I've got to tell you, Andrew, I hated it. And then worst host in Oscar history. I hate to say this because I love David Letterman, but Dave, when you were the host and you did that, Oprah meet Uma, Oprah, Uma. What? It made no sense. We haven't seen Dave come back to do that. Even worse was when he drags Tom Hanks to the stage to do stupid pet tricks. Look, you can't do your own talk show and make it an Oscar thing that works. It was hideous. So I'm out there hoping that Steve Martin and Alec Baldwin do something, please, that will make all of us laugh. And I'm Peter Travers.